Hey Terensu fans, it's Terensu again, back with some hot takes incoming just for you. So if you haven't seen it, the rumor floating around now is that the next set, or at least one of the Season 2 DLC characters for Tekken 7 will be announced at the Tekken World Tournament Finals next month in December. So I thought I would take a moment to do a brief video telling you who I think stands the best chance and who I think stands the worst chance of being added to the game, as well as why I think that about them. So let's dive right in. I've actually made some notes here. I've given you some great gameplay footage of a Super Nintendo classic in the background to enjoy. That Flying King level is terrible. I hate whoever put it in the game, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Anyway, on to Season 2 now. We don't know if it will be another announcement of two characters or if it will be an announcement of one character and a release date. We don't know. I'm just going to assume that we are going to get two more characters announced. Obviously, we know that Negan is coming, but I'm just going to assume we get two more characters at the Tekken World Tournament Finals next month. They're going to announce two. So, in the top tier, I'm calling it the best chance tier. Here are some characters I think stand the best chance of being announced. Number one at the top of the list is Julia Chang. This is kind of the hot opinion right now. You look, everybody is saying that Julia is a lock to be announced, and I think people are probably right about this. Julia is missing from Tekken 7 despite being with the series forever, or at least her moveset. If you want to talk about the character's moveset, it started with Michelle Chang back in Tekken 1, way back in the day. And of course, after the big time skip after Tekken 2, they replaced her with her adopted daughter, Julia, and she's been a big part of the series ever since. So it's kind of strange already that Julia wasn't in the game to begin with. I don't know if it was because of low usage or they just never got around to adding her or what. But she did not make the cut. And Tekken 7 was like that. You know, Nina wasn't even in the game originally, and she came back and later on, despite having been in the game series since the beginning. But I think Julia stands a big chance. There's just no reason for her not to be added into Tekken. She's a classic character, so I think people will buy her. People will enjoy playing as her. A lot of people want her back. I knew one or two people that mained her in earlier games of the series. I just think there's no reason for her not to be in. I mean, her moveset is unique, so you've got no other character who is just taking up the mantle like King 1 to King 2, and you have no character who plays similarly to her like you have with Bruce and Jose Rizal. So there's just no reason for Julia not to sneak back in. I think she's a good choice. Now, Julia leads me to my second option for the best chance tier, and that's Ganryu. I really think Ganryu stands a good chance, especially if we're announcing the characters in sets of two, and Julia is the first one, because their story is tied together, because Ganryu had a thing for Julia's mom, and then when she left the series, they turned over that thing he had to Julia. It's obviously an unrequited romance, but those two characters, they just kind of play off each other, and it's more so Ganryu plays off Julia, because Julia probably has very little knowledge that Ganryu exists, and if she does know he exists, she doesn't really care. Every ending that we've seen, he either gets rejected or she leaves before he can tell her he loves her, or whatever stupid thing it is. But Ganryu is another character that has a unique moveset. He was in the series with Tekken 1. He came back for Tekken 5 after being absent in 3 and 4. 5 kind of tried to bring some of those old sub-boss characters back. And so he was in that and came back. So I just think he has a really good chance to come back because of that unique moveset. And if Julia is truly a lock, like people say, again, nothing confirmed, I just think that's a good 1-2 punch for Namco to deliver, because those two characters are very similar to each other. And for the last character in my best chance tier, and this may surprise a lot of people, and I'm kind of taking a gamble, but I really think there's a good chance, and that's Cooney Mitsu. And the reason I say Cooney Mitsu is because while, yes, she was a clone character to start out with, they gave her a unique moveset for Tekken Tag 2, a complete redesign, and then they also put her in Tekken Revolution. So I think somebody likes her over there. I know Harada said on Twitter before that he likes her design. He thought it was unique. I just think there's a good chance she comes back. And, they're kind of going the story light model for the DLC characters. None of them are getting character episodes thus far in Season 1 or Season 2. So it makes sense that they could just kind of test the water with Cooney Mitsu without having to put too much story relevance in there for her. But who knows? Maybe she'll get a bio and it'll explain what she's been up to all these years, and maybe it'll be a new Cooney Mitsu who's taking up the mantle, filling in for the old one if she died or is too old or something. Because Namco does not like to put old women in their fighting games. They always come up with some excuse to replace them. Hence, Michelle Chang passing the torch to Julia Chang. Of course, I'm a little biased because I like Cooney Mitsu and I used her a lot in Tekken Tag 2. I don't know, I just think she's got a good chance because, like Julia and Ganryu, she has the least amount of things going against her. But these are just my hot takes. They could be wrong or they could be right. Who knows? Let's move down a tier to what I'm calling the decent chance tier. And there's 3 characters in this tier as well. And those are Marduk, Bruce, and Armor King. Now, Marduk, I think, has a good chance just like Julia, Ganryu, and Cooney Mitsu because he has a pretty unique moveset. He's a original type of character, fan favorite. Needs another non-king grappler, in my opinion, in the game. He's got some things working against him, though. One is that he is an exclusive to the Tekken mobile game. They advertised him as an exclusive. So that kind of looks like, hey, what gives, Namco, if you're saying this guy is exclusive to mobile, but then you turn around and sell him on the console version? It's just kind of, Namco would probably do it, honestly. But it just seems like a bad taste move to do that after you've already said he was exclusive to the mobile version. Plus, if you actually looked up and read the bios for Tekken 7 characters, you would know that Marduk is in the hospital following the events of Tekken 7, which is really the same problem that Armor King has. Armor King 2 is also said to be in the hospital following the events of Tekken 6 and his brawl with King and those sorts of things. Armor King has some more detrimental things going against him. I know that he played completely differently than King, but they share the same name. I mean, it's almost like a Lee Violet thing going on. And I just don't know if they would add Armor King in because King is so similar as a character. I would be perfectly okay with it, but Namco might be afraid that some people might think, oh, you just took King and you turned him dark. Because let's be honest, a lot of these, it's a big undertaking to learn a new character in Tekken. So selling these new characters, the more casual people that they probably want to open up their wallet and buy new characters, they might feel like they're just going to say, oh, he's just another version of King. Why would I pay money for that? You're trying to rip me off, Namco. Bruce, he is in the same boat, I think, as Marduk. He was listed as an exclusive character to Tekken Mobile, so I'm afraid that they might just discount him for that reason. Plus, Jose Rizal kind of took up his mantle, so to speak, and I do not like Josie at all. She's annoying. She has really no relevance in the story. She's not a good character. I don't like her. She's whiny and annoying. Bruce was 100 times more interesting, and he had actual ties to Kazuya and the Mishimas, so he was a lot more important, I feel like, to the Tekken storyline and just Tekken in general. You know, he has been around since Tekken 2. Same deal as Ganryu in Tekken 3, you know, was absent, and then absent in Tekken 4, and then came back in 5 when the series had kind of a renaissance, to be honest, and they brought back a lot of those old sub-boss characters and made them their own thing. So that's my decent chance tier. That's Marduk, Bruce, and Armor King. Their characters, I think, would be great additions to the game, but they've got some circumstances that, in my opinion, go against them and make them less likely to be chosen. So now we're going to move down another tier to the less likely, and I put 2 characters in this, and those characters are Wang, Jinrei, and Safinaz. Wang is just such a technical, hard-to-use character. He's always had traditionally low pick rates. You know, there are guys like Eris that like to use him, and, you know, he has his fans, kind of like Anna, that love to use him. But he's just such a complicated technical character that a lot of people are put off by this. And you can really tell with the way they handle Tekken 7 with armored moves and rage arts and those type of things. Tekken is a hard game, and they were trying to make it a little more casual, maybe to pull in some more fighting fans, and it seems to be working well for them. Tekken 7 is probably the biggest Tekken in a while as far as player base and who's competing and who's playing and that kind of thing. So they're probably going to think that that strategy is working. And to be honest, it probably is. And so I think Wang has it going against him that the idea is to simplify with Tekken 7, but Wang is a very hard character to use. So that's going to go against him very strongly. Now, you could counter that argument and say, well, Lei Wulong, was the second Season 2 character. I don't remember if they showed him or Anna first in the trailer. It doesn't matter. They came out together. But I would counter that by saying that Lei was probably like Julia in that he was one of the most requested characters that was not already in the game. And Lei had a lot of staying power. He's been a series mainstay since 2. Even if you didn't play as him, all the casual people that I went to school with in high school back in the day, they knew who Lei Wulong was. They knew him, even if they weren't, down with the technical nature and the deep study required to play him and learn all his stances. So I think he's kind of more of a series veteran. Lei Wulong was big on the box of Tekken 2, and he was actually the protagonist alongside Jun Kazama in Tekken 2. So I just think he has a little more staying power than Wang, who started out as this sub-boss character in Tekken 1. He wasn't even playable until the console, and even then he was just a rip-off of Michelle Chang for Part 1 and 2. Didn't come back and get his own moveset until the series Renaissance in Tekken 5. Plus the guy's ancient. He's like 100-something years old, which I really love the ancient, old fighting master archetype. I would be happy to see him back in the game. He's a fun character. I like him. I just think he has a lot going against him as far as Namco's objectives for the game and his popularity and ease of use. And this leads me to my next character in the less likely tier, and that's Safinaz. Safinaz is a great character. She was brought in Tekken 6. She played heavily into the Tekken 6 story with Azazel and Jin and all that funky stuff out in the desert that happened. But Safinaz has a lot going against her. One is she's like Wang, but worse. She's difficult to play. She has lots of stances that require lots of effort and learning. I think she was bottom tier in Tekken 6 and Tag Tournament 2 because of this. And plus her story has kind of played out. I kind of got lucky being a Lee main that Lee snuck into the console version of the game, maybe just because he had such a high presence in the story. I don't know. I think that Namco really likes Lee, but his difficulty of use turns a lot of people off. But I'm hoping that he's just one of those characters that they plan to keep around a while, because they do. But back to Safinaz. Her story's kind of petered out. The whole Azazel thing is gone. They went in a completely different direction for the story of Tekken 7. I don't know that they even mentioned the story of Tekken 6 very much, other than Jin being unconscious for the majority of 7. That was kind of a good way for them to play up the Heihachi and Kazuya thing with Jin knocked out. But I don't know, Safinaz's hard to use. Her story's played out. She had a low pick rate. I'd love to see her back in the game, just like any of these people, because I think she was fun, and it was always great to go online against somebody that did play as Safinaz, because it was like so neat to watch what people who really put the time into her could pull off and do. And it was a fun thing to see. But I just don't think that she's got a strong chance, so she's in the less likely tier. Less of a chance than Wang, who I'm putting in the same tier. Now let's go down to the next tier, and that's the probably not category. That's even worse than less likely. The first person I have on my list here is Christy Monteiro. She's like Bruce and Marduk. She's another exclusive to Tekken mobile character. She's just a palette swap of Eddie Gordo, who's probably always been a little bit more popular and who is already in the game. And Eddie only barely made it into the game. He snuck in as a console exclusive character, announced a few months before the game came out. So I just don't think that they would do this. Another reason is if you put Christy in the game, you're essentially charging for a costume for Eddie, and you're passing it off as another character. That's what you're doing. And so I don't think that will be... Surely Namco would not be so crass as to think that was good value for people's money to pay for a character that is the exact same as Eddie. Now, if they wanted to throw Christy in as like a costume swap somewhere, a voice pack, whatever, great. Let them do that at some point. But I just do not think Christy will be revealed as part of Season 2. Also, her story's kind of petered out with her father or master or whoever it was dying. And, Eddie's just kind of carrying the capo torch now. So I don't think Christy comes into the game. Another character for the same reason I think is discounted is Mokujin. Now, Mokujin is essentially random select, low pick rates, I'm sure. You could just go random select, and I know that's not the same thing as changing moveset every round, and that Mokujin had unique properties on his versions of the moves. But again, it's not a good value proposition because you're asking people to pay for a random select character. And maybe Namco would be that crass, but I doubt it. I don't think they do that. That's just kind of a crass move. The way the gaming industry is headed, I suppose that's possible, but just not going to happen in my opinion. Next, probably not, is Beiku Tosan. He is just too similar to Hwoarang, and he was always lower tier, if I remember correctly, than Hwoarang was. So I don't think that he will return. I just kind of have a gut feeling that he's probably too similar. Armor King at least played differently. I know Bayek had some differences too, and I'm not an expert, so maybe they were really different Taekwondo characters. But I just think he's too similar to Hwoarang to come back. I just don't think it happens. And below that, I'm calling just no. Gon is not coming back. There will be no Gon. That was a one-time thing. Not going to see Dr. Boskanovich. They're not going to charge you for Dr. Boskanovich in Season 2. He's not coming back. I don't think Jun Kazama is coming back. Jun is too important to the game's story to be a DLC character. I just think the way that they're handling this, if you put Jun in the game, you have to come up with some crazy story reason as to why she's in it. Obviously, Kazumi is dead in the story, but that's a little different. She's a main focus of the Tekken 7 story mode, which explains why she's in the game. The matches that we all play are non-canon to the story. But if you put Jun on the roster, all of a sudden you've either got a non-canon character or you have to come up with all of these crazy reasons why Jun is suddenly back alive and well and fighting, and you don't really have a lot of room to do it because you're going to have to put it in a bio that most people aren't going to read because it's a late to the party DLC character. So I do not think Jun Kazama's coming back. I don't think you're going to see Ogre or True Ogre again because those were bosses and they just have they carry a lot of weight story-wise because of who they are and what they mean for Tekken. So I just do not think you're going to see your Jun. You're not going to see your Ogre or Ancient Ogre. You're not going to see Prototype Jack because he's too similar and, he's just old Tekken 1 era characters. And I realize that I'm saying Cooney Mitsu has some of the best chance to return, but I just think she has a lot more attention than somebody like Prototype Jack. Maybe they would bring back the Tekken 1 Prototype Jack with the yellow drill for an arm. That would be a character I would pay 2 season pass worth of cash to get. No, not really. But, just characters like that I don't think are coming back. No Alex, no Angel. You've already got Devil and Kazuya, so he's not coming back, Just those kind of wacky one-offs and boss characters you're not gonna see back. So that's just the no tier. Now again, I could be completely wrong about any of this. Who knows what's going to happen when they roll that footage at the tournament next month? Who knows what's going to happen? We'll just have to wait and see. But again, I think your best chance, you're going to see the best chance of seeing Julia, Ganryu, and Cooney Mitsu. You have a decent chance of it being Marduk, Bruce, Armor King. Less likely, Wang, Safinaz. Probably not Christy, Mokujin, and Beiku Tosan. And then below that is no Gon, no Angel, no Alex. You could probably make an argument for Roger Jr. in there somewhere, but I feel like he's just kind of skirted by throughout the years, so I didn't bother really talking about him. I don't know. I'm probably leaving some people out. Tekken is a big game and it's had a big cast throughout the years. So who do you think could be the best chance to be announced as DLC for the rest of Tekken 7 Season 2? And don't say Negan because that's already a surefire bet. I think AMC's Twitter said something about him coming out in 2019, so we know he's a good ways off. But whether we'll see gameplay of him or not, I don't know. Like I said, any or all of this, subject to be completely incorrect. These are just my takes. Anyway, thanks guys. Like I said, leave a comment below. Let me know who you think it's going to be and why. Give me your reasoning. Tell me if you think I'm wrong and why. Let me know. Tell me what you'd like to see more of as far as hot Tekken takes. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like my content. I'm getting on the bandwagon and asking everybody to do that now, even though it sucks. Last I checked, I was 9 subs away from 400, which I know is small beans, but it's a big deal for me. So if you like the video, do subscribe. There's a lot of crazy good gaming content under there that's poorly made and of low quality, but it has heart, dadgummit. Anyway, this is Terensu signing off. I hope you enjoyed. Take care, everybody.